This weekend, the weather made it easy to get out and have a good time, but that is expected to come to an abrupt wet end. Audrey Puente is here with what sounds like could be more flooding issues in the city. Hi, Audrey.
In parts of the area, yes, that's true. We do have a flash flood threat across parts of the tri-state area, which we'll look at in just a moment. Let's talk about today. It was warm and it was muggy across the tri-state area. The high temperature in Central Park hit 83 degrees. Our normal high is about 85. It looks like we're going to be hovering in the 80s throughout the next several days. The record high in the state, 100 degrees. That was set back in 1955. And this morning we start off with a mild and muggy 75, and the record low it was 57. That was back in 1875. Right now we've settled down to 78 in Central Park. That's the same number we're finding in Islip as well as White Plains. 81 up in Poughkeepsie. It's 79 in Bridgeport. 74 for you in East Hampton. We're just under 80 down the shore in Belmar. Our dew points are reflecting that mugginess that we've all been experiencing across the region as of late. It's in the upper 60s to low 70s, and it's going to feel quite muggy throughout the rest of the evening and through the day tomorrow as well. Our winds have kind of picked up in speed here, running between 5 and almost 15 miles per hour. We've had some wind gusts as high as 25 miles per hour. We're also experiencing some high surf too, especially into tomorrow. So the National Weather Service has issued a high surf advisory for Monday, starting at 6 a.m. until 9 p.m. for the areas shaded in purple here. So with that strong southeast wind flow, we're going to have wave heights of about 5 to 9 feet. It's definitely very dangerous for surfing as well as for swimming. So they're definitely advising to stay out of the water. There's a high risk of rip currents here. So everyone should be out of the waters here out on Long Island too. So satellite and radar is showing that we do have increasing clouds. Not all of the rain you see here being picked up on the radar is reaching the ground. It's actually just upper levels of the atmosphere. It's out towards the west where we're seeing the rain reaching the ground in Pennsylvania and central New York. But it is moving in our direction here. So we're soon going to see the raindrops falling here across portions of New Jersey, eventually the Hudson Valley, and then of course heading over towards New York City and points eastward here. There's a lot of rainfall here with this line that's brightly shaded here across Binghamton, heading over towards the Poconos. That could produce some downpours, and as a result, flash flooding is going to be our threat as we go through the next, let's say, 12 to 24 hours. It's all associated with this frontal system that did bring some downpours and flash flooding in the Midwest over the last day or so. Behind it, high pressure will start to work in here from the west and northwest of us. That'll set us up for a nice Tuesday, and then we get a little unsettled as we go into the second half of the week here. So here it plays out on our futurecast. We can see the first round of rain starting to move in here, probably after about 10 o'clock in the evening, and then we'll see a line of showers and maybe even isolated thunderstorm forming around midnight, and that's where we see the kind of the first set of downpour cells that will come through here. Then as we go into the morning commute, we'll still have some lingering showers, and then we're going to see rounds of rain kind of popping up throughout the day on Monday. So it won't be a consistent rain through the day, but when we get some of these cells firing up, we could have some significant downpours, and that's when we'll get the flash flooding as a possibility across the region here. The front starts to push through by the evening, and so then we'll see things taper off probably after about 9 or 10 o'clock, or at least the threat will taper off, and then high pressure works its way in here. So Tuesday looks to be a sunny and bright day with dry conditions across the region here. And then as we go into the latter part of the week, we start to have the humidity build back in, and there will be the chance of a couple of pop-up showers for the second half of the week here. Rainfall amounts anywhere averaging between 1 to 2 inches, but there could be some isolated amounts with higher amounts. We can see East Hampton here roughly about 3 inches or greater. Tonight's lows mostly in the 70s, so it's going to be mild and muggy. Watch out for showers and storms tomorrow, with highs mostly in the 80s. Looking good for Tuesday. That's my pick of the best weather day of the week. But then for the second half of the week, we'll have a mix of showers, a mix of sun and clouds with a chance of a shower popping up mostly in the afternoon hours. And temperatures are quite warm. We'll be in the upper 80s by the second half of the week.